Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived an old lady. She had silver hair, a face full of wrinkles, but eyes that shone with kindness. Everyone in the village loved her because she was always happy, even when life was hard. She lived alone in a little house near the big banyan tree. She had no children, and her husband had passed away many years ago. But she never complained. Every day, she would sit under the tree, talk to people, and always smile. In the village, people worked hard. Some were farmers, some were carpenters, and others worked in the small market. Life was not easy. Sometimes, the rain did not come, and the crops dried up. Sometimes, people got sick and couldn't work. Many villagers were often sad or worried. One day, a young woman named Radha came to the old lady, tears streaming down her face. "I don't know what to do," she cried. "My husband has gone to the city to find work, but he has not sent any money. My children are hungry, and I am scared." The old lady smiled softly and patted the ground beside her. "Sit down, my child," she said. "Tell me, what do you think will happen?" Radha wiped her tears. "I don't know. I feel like bad things will happen. What if my husband cannot find work? What if he forgets about us?" The old lady shook her head gently. "Radha, when we think bad thoughts, we feel worse. But if we think good thoughts, we feel better. And sometimes, good things happen." Radha frowned. "But how can I think good thoughts when everything is so bad?" The old lady smiled again. "Let me tell you a story." Radha looked at her curiously as she began. "Once, there was a poor man who had nothing, no food, no money, no family. He sat by the river, crying. An old woman came to him and asked, 'Why are you crying?' The man replied, 'I have nothing. How can I be happy?' The old woman smiled and said, 'You have the river, the trees, and the sun. Look around you, there is beauty in life everywhere. If you only think about what you don't have, you will always be sad. But if you think about what you do have, you will find peace.' The man listened. Slowly, he stopped crying. He began to notice the good things around him. From that day on, his life began to change." The old lady looked at Radha and said, "You see, my dear, the man's life did not change because of magic. It changed because he changed his thinking. When we think positively, our hearts feel lighter, and we can face problems better." Radha thought about the story. "Will my thinking really change my life?" The old lady nodded. "Yes. If you wake up every morning and tell yourself, 'Today will be a good day,' you will find the strength to work, to care for your children, and to wait for your husband with hope. But if you only think about what might go wrong, you will feel sad and weak." Radha nodded slowly. "I understand. I will try to think good thoughts from now on." "That's the first step, my child," the old lady said warmly. Radha left the old lady's house with a lighter heart. Every day, she remembered her words. She woke up and told herself, "Today will be a good day." She worked hard, took care of her children, and prayed for her husband's return. A few weeks later, Radha received a letter from her husband. He had found a job in the city and was sending money back home. Overjoyed, she ran to the old lady's house to share the news. The old lady smiled. "You see, my dear, when we think positively, we invite good things into our lives. Problems will always come, but if we face them with a hopeful heart, we can overcome them." Soon, other villagers began to hear about the old lady's wise words. Many came to her with their troubles, and she gave them the same advice: think good thoughts, and good will come. The villagers loved her even more because her wisdom changed their lives. She had taught them the power of positive thinking, and from that day on, the village was a happier place.